As I walked into my third-year clinical placement on the trauma unit, I wondered how I got here and whether I could handle it. Maybe I should be guiding people through nature, a place I knew I belonged, rather than getting myself lost in here. Filled with dread, I slowly walked the hospital hall towards my 18-year-old patient, mentally preparing for the most complex wound dressing change I'd ever done, a stomach ripped open in a horrible car accident. As I entered the room, tunnel vision hit. All I could focus on was the task and how I had to get it right. I mindlessly said something sterile, that it was a good thing she'd been wearing her seatbelt. She flatly said, "I wish I hadn't been. I'd rather be dead." Her response stopped me in my tracks. How had I forgotten that wound was part of a person? I thought of how much is beneath the surface for all of us. For my fourth year and final placement selections, there was no box to tick for where I wanted to be, again making me question if I'd chosen the right path. The faculty worked to find an atypical placement in primary care, something that helped me start to find my place. Soon after graduating, I started my career in this same area, despite almost everyone telling me I should get more acute care experience first. I found supporting people living with chronic conditions deeply rewarding, guiding them as they navigate their health, their barriers, their lives. A year into practice, I stood on a stage being recognized with the Rising Star Award from the Nursing College for showing promise within the profession, surrounded by colleagues and outstanding nurses. And yet, I hardly remember anything that was said. The voices in my head were too loud. I didn't belong here. I couldn't handle shift work. I was afraid of making mistakes in acute care. I couldn't even insert an IV anymore. I wasn't a real nurse. Over the years, I became an educator, leader, and facilitator in various nursing roles, the imposter syndrome ebbing and flowing throughout. When I decided to complete a master's degree, I again felt uncertain about where I belonged, but I still wanted it to be nursing. Eager to learn more and challenge myself, I chose an advanced practice certificate in oncology for the second year of graduate studies, an area I hadn't worked a single day in. That old familiar voice and doubt returned. You're barely a nurse, let alone an oncology nurse. Again, you do not belong. Only this time it was quieter, and it didn't last long. In a course on person-centered care, that 18-year-old patient from 2 decades earlier came back into my mind. Not with shame, but with understanding. That moment had shaped who I am as a nurse. It taught me that nursing is far more than tasks or technical skill. It's about seeing the whole person, their pain, their story, their human experience. Over the years, in every role I've had the privilege of doing just that. And suddenly, finally, I realized I've been a nurse all along. It took me a long time to get comfortable in my own skin, to heal the wounds of not feeling good enough, to find a sense of belonging. But I'm here through doubts and detours, not because I have all the answers, but because I keep learning how to see others and myself more clearly, with curiosity, courage, and compassion.